Daniel, thank you for joining us here on this podcast. I appreciate the chance to discuss this important information. Your expertise in this area of construction and development is tremendous, and I think everybody's going to have a really aha moment after they're done hearing your perspective on a new technology that's coming at us in this area. So thank you so much. You're the founder and CEO of Glowhab Incorporated, and I want to welcome you to our podcast. So maybe I can jump right in.
Mhm.
Your journey as an inventor and housing technologist, how did it start for you? What got you down this path here, Daniel?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the invite. Uh,
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Yeah, it started back in late 80s, actually in Peru, because we had a chance to develop
Hmm.
a construction system made out of wood bricks, but the feature was interlocking. And we had a chance to build a house pretty quickly, like a 700 square feet. We did it in 3 days using Lego blocks, small wooden blocks with interlocking. And we had the invitation to do it in an international fair where the president of Peru came at that particular time.
Hmm.
So they inaugurated our process the first day, and then the third day we're coming back, and the third day we had the whole house up, and it was tremendous, audience, including the president that walked into the house and said, "This is so great." The idea of having interlocking blocks, for housing was new at that time, and he suggested that we should develop a block system made out of concrete masonry, and if we can keep the same features, we'll have something, for the future. So it took us many years from that point on to
Hmm.
develop. But I took the concept of developing into masonry from that uh, that first house that we built, using interlocking blocks. And the journey
Wow.
was for years, but we had to develop a system that coincide with the market. They could be manufactured as well,
Hmm.
because you can design something that is not a good product to be manufactured in mass production. So that took years, and at the end of the day, we end up developing a system that was friendly on the masonry. We decided to keep the same measurements of the regular block. We
Hmm.
started with the basics, 6A16, and our block had those exact measurements. And if you look at our block, they're pretty much the same look as the regular block, with the difference all of our interlocking features are in the inside.
Yeah. Nice. So you don't notice anything very different. Now, for people that don't have a construction background, what does your system replace that traditional construction using masonry relies on?
Uh, well, basically, what we replace is the expert knowledge of a person that knows how to lay a block. Because up to this time, if you want to build a straight wall, plan wall, you need an expert, somebody that does the mixing, apply to the block, and build a straight wall. And
Hmm.
basically, you have to be an artist, to me nowadays, to be
Mm.
able to build. Our system interlocks and self-align, so we don't have to.
Self-aligned. Mm.
Yeah, that's the key. That there's only one way to put the block the correct way,
Mm.
and it's sitting one on top of the other, one next to the other. At the stagger as it goes up. Uh, I think
Hmm.
the nice feature is that uh, anyone that can see this can figure it out. Had a little experience. I visited a buyer that was going to become a Home Depot buyer,
Hmm.
and I brought like 8 blocks in a little car. We brought to his office, and he said, "Let me do it myself. No, don't don't tell me how to do it." So we put it on the floor, and and he took the corner and figured out, okay, this is the corner and this is, and basically he built a little corner wall with the
Mhm.
unit and said, this is so great for the do-it-yourselfers, because anybody
Yeah.
can do it. And that little experience, sparked the idea of, hey, we should, start pushing it in different directions, actually start testing it not only on walls, but houses, commercial buildings. And that's how it developed into a real, system. So,
And so it's just as strong as the original way, using a lot of masonry, a lot of cement, and now anybody can do it, right? Anybody can build this, even myself, right?
yeah,
So
anybody can do it. Yeah, basically, it's made with the same equipment that masonry
okay,
equipment because they
yeah,
have the same compression and the molds are pretty similar. Our molds are a little bit more complicated because we have developed interlocking mechanism on the bottom, on top, on all the faces, and
right.
that requires some special equipment, to do the indentation on the bottom because it's not extruded; it's actually mold. So you have
Hmm.
to insert. Um, a
Hmm.
hydraulic arm, to do the indentation on the bottom, and you have to be able to take it out before you demold. So that's a technical aspect
Yeah,
that you have to be precise because it's a product that needs to keep the tolerance. But
yeah,
yeah, but it's done all the time. The equipment today is
yeah.
very sophisticated to do blocks.
In the
So
manufacturing, yeah.
yeah, the manufacturing important and it has the same strength as the regular block. So you can
Wow.
do it 60, 70, 100 kilos, which is over 200 pounds per square inch. And you can dosify that. You can make it stronger or lighter.
Yeah,
You can add lightweight aggregates, perlite,
nice.
porcelain. So but the idea is that the block looks pretty familiar with
Yeah,
to masons and to people. And
same
when
size.
I learned when I learned the number of blocks that are manufactured every year, I was shocked. I mean, it's 2.1 trillion blocks a year
Oh my.
are
So when are we
made.
going to see this in Home Depot? I need it. Sounds like we could be
Yeah.
so helpful
Well,
here.
the only thing we can do is it's make it available, so people can start
Mm,
choosing, hey, I want to hire somebody to help me, or I want to try to do it myself. Because if you're doing a perimeter fence or anything related to blocks, that you can do it yourself, it's a
yeah,
lot easier. Now, if you
yeah.
go to other countries, it's even worse. We were invited to talk to the people in Iraq when they were doing the reconstruction a few
Hmm.
years ago, and basically the Home Builders Association called us because there weren't too many companies that were building with block. So we had a chance to meet with the Minister of Housing and Finance, and they said, we haven't built for 50 years. We don't have people to build even, and they needed they still do, need over 10 million houses. But that
Wow.
was a typical example of having the need for housing, but having no people, the specialized
Yeah,
labor to do it.
yeah.
So
So it
even if you
solves
have
that specialized labor problem.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's probably the key feature that anybody can do it because if you can pile a block, it's just like playing a big
Mm.
uh, forms, that get erected and you
Hmm.
follow instructions. We have now plans and videos, photos,
Mm.
and it's like
Yep.
you can get a kit and do it yourself if you have the time and if you get somebody that has some experience, you'll be even go faster. But
Nice.
mhm.
So Daniel, you said that traditional construction struggles at times, especially in disaster-prone environments. Why is that? You've got disaster happening. Traditional construction comes in. What's the problem with this?
Well, the main problem again is
Mm.
labor force,
Yep.
because we've been building in, for instance, in California and Baja California and in the Mexican side. And they have, even though they're experts in building in block, they're starting to use our block because it's a lot easier to find good specialized labor. It's in shortage right now. The banks, the Inter-American Bank put out a report that in the Americas, including the U.S., I mean, we're missing specialized labor in the 20-30%. So that means that it's a big number of people that are missing for an industry. So we show people how to utilize the system, expedite construction. Not only the quality will be better, but because you're not using mortar, but you're using the equivalent, which is an interlocking. One block goes inside the other one, and all of the faces, so it's really lock. And still, you have to follow the engineering plans. If the plans call for rebars, rebars every other cell or every third cell. And depending where you are, if you're in California, the city might say, okay, I want every cell fill. If you're in other areas that are not earthquake prone, be every other cell, every 3 cells. So it just depends where you are, but that's the easy part. The hard part is to actually put one block on top of the other and keep it plumb and straight. So once you solve that problem, you're free to go as fast as you can.
Okay. So Daniel, can I ask here, so what breaks down first in, say, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, floods? Is it, again, finding the labor to help in these terrible situations that come up, when we have these catastrophes?
Yes, I think we've been learning because in the U.S. We used to build with masonry back in the 1900s. You could buy a kit house from Sears Roebuck from a catalog, and then
one of my friends has a house built. Yes, I can verify that. Yes.
And somehow we lost track. We start building with wood, and then wood became the norm, and that's how we lost the masonry because it lasts longer. What happened in Florida, for instance, we keep getting hit by these hurricanes, and one after the other, basically turned the insurance industry into bankrupt. They bankrupt the insurance industry. So Florida, for instance, after one of these big hurricanes, changed their rules and say, no, from now on, we need to build with concrete and masonry. We have to be attached to the ground. So they started with that program that the first 11, 12 feet had to be with concrete or masonry. And right now, Florida is the only state that is mandatory to be braced on the ground. And that's why Florida is a masonry friendly state. Now it's happening in other states. In California, for instance, fires are doing the same thing to insurance companies. That's why most of the large, I think all of them pulled out of California right now. I think the government have a program to insure with where they don't give you 100% of the insurance, they give you a percentage of the house. You lose it on fires. So the state is starting to change the rules. The fire department is involved and looking at whatever you build has to be non-flammable products. And that brings you right to the masonry. Because even if you use steel, with fires, it crumbles. The steel is not as good. And masonry is very friendly, and it basically is non-combustible. And when you go and apply for building permit, you get right through with masonry. Amazing, because before you would think, oh, it's taking so long, and the idea, and I think it was the right idea, but now it changes. that masonry is a lot more expensive than wood. But
Okay.
now with this system, which is a lot easier to build and expedite things, it
Mhm.
becomes, we have been able to level our cost. So if I
Yeah.
build a house with wood and with masonry, it will cost now the same with our system. If you use the other system, it will cost you more because a specialized labor comes into the
Specialized
picture.
labor.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
So, but we're
Wow.
proving that, by using a system like this, you cut labor to level with lumber, and
Yeah.
that's great news for
So
builders.
this is big news. Wood is no longer the number one choice in some of these really big markets like, well, Florida, California. Things are.
Yes.
Speaking of California, you're actively rebuilding in places like Paradise, California, where they had that fire a few years back. What's been the biggest challenge there in post disaster recovery?
I think the for the neighbors that had to move from the area, imagine. I think officially they lost over 18,000 houses,
Wow.
and a couple months ago we were at the city building department, and they say that they had less than 3,000 rebuilt. So that's leaving a big gap of 15,000 houses after 6 years.
Just a
And,
small percentage rebuilt. Yeah.
right. And talking to the city and to the neighbors, they say, well, we're afraid to rebuild. And they still were building with wood, and
Oh,
people are now aware that, if I do a wooden house again, the fires, because it's a nice area, but it's a lot of trees and
yeah.
anything could happen, no? So that's the
Yeah.
biggest hurdle that, so we saw a market that needed to be attended, and we figured, why don't we come in and settle in Paradise, and show them. So we're pulling the first two permits in the next few weeks. So we're doing
Nice.
a house and commercial building to show people, hey, nothing wrong with building with masonry. You can do any kind of design, and because they had
Hmm.
the idea, oh yeah, it has to be a box and it's coal, but not anymore. Now you
Right.
do anything with masonry. Huh?
Wow. All right. So this may help with that specific problem out there, the lack of the rebuilding that's going on in Paradise. And how, so this will help speed up changes for communities that have experienced disasters. I mean, that seems like a
Yeah,
great thing. I mean, that's what we're seeing from this, correct?
correct. Yeah, just over a year ago, we had the LA fires, and they have lost also about over 15,000 houses altogether.
Wow.
And now the fire department, if I were going to meet with them in the next few days,
Hmm.
they looking into the construction materials, that key phrase that they use, non-combustible, and they're going to start pushing it. And actually, that's where we come into the picture, because the only thing surviving the fires are masonry. All
Yeah.
you see after the fire is masonry, chimneys or fences, or the foundation always stay there. The rest of the
Hmm.
house goes. So they're realizing that they have to move the same way Florida did, in
Yes.
California. Otherwise, imagine if you want to build a house, you're supposed to bring your insurance, fire insurance, to the city. But just to get a fire insurance on a wood house, they're talking about probably $1,000 a month on the
Mm,
on the cheap side. So that's 12,000 a year just to keep your house insured. And
not very
nowadays you
affordable.
can, yeah,
Mm,
and you can't get 100% insurance anymore.
mm,
It's you have to
right.
buy whatever or go without insurance, which is very dangerous. And
Mm,
if you have a loan on or a mortgage on your house, the bank won't allow you to do that. So that extra expense that the insurance put on your house is terrible
mhm.
for the homeowner.
Wow. All right. You got a solution here. So, affordable housing, Daniel, it's often built really fast, uh, but sometimes not built to last. Right. I mean, there's different ways to do this. How do you think about durability and lifespan with what you're doing here right now, and especially related to affordable housing.
Yes, I work on a case in with the state of California. The Deputy Secretary of Housing um, approached us. This is a few years ago, and she wants to study Mexico as a
Mm.
point of affordable housing because she learned that Mexican were building these houses very cheap, for affordable housing. So we met and created a team, and she used to bring 3, 4 people from the state of California into Tijuana and look at the house. And so we created a plan. So we worked for a year visiting different developments. Uh, and they were amazed at that time, houses, three bedroom house with 2 baths, 2-story, very economical houses were selling under $100,000. And at
Mm.
the time, in California, it would be probably 400, 300.
Sure.
And so they learned that not only have to be cheap, but have to be resilient. They have to take the beating of people because, a wood house usually doesn't get maintenance as when it's affordable
Mm.
as a regular house. So
Hmm.
they created a program that never happened, but the state had a lot of cities that owe land to the state. When you do a development, you're supposed to donate X amount of land, and that land is for affordable housing. But the state at that time got neglected that they didn't collect all those houses. So at the end of the day, they had thousands of houses that needed to be built by the cities, but they didn't have the money or they didn't have enough land to do it. So the state created a new program where you can build in another city where housing was not a priority, and
Okay.
they were going to allow cities to pay off. But they didn't make it on the re-election, so that program stayed there. But they came out with good ideas. They wanted to do 40-year mortgages so people can
Mm.
afford an affordable housing and make it out of masonry to last the house so it wouldn't lose value. And if you
Okay.
compare, Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned, well, masonry lasts hundreds of years. Why does that matter economically with affordable housing or any housing for that matter?
Yeah,
And yeah, how does the construction material affect the appraisal and the long-term value? The importance of that. Please talk about that. Yeah, it's
yeah. Well, basically, the appraisal is most of the time based on replacement value. And
okay.
replacement value of wood house compared to a masonry. In the industry, they see masonry as a better product, more expensive. So when you appraise a house, if you compare wood house 1,000 square feet versus a masonry 1,000 square feet, you get probably 30% higher value on the masonry, even
Mm,
though with this
big number.
system will cost you the same. But so you get an A plus if you're using masonry, and the lifespan, will help you if at that time they say we're considering doing 40-year mortgages. You couldn't do it with wood, because the wood a wood house probably needed a lot of maintenance to get to the point of 40 years, and
Mm,
in masonry, can surpass 50 years. We hardly low maintenance
mm,
compared to a lumber. So I think those were the bases that they were considering. How do we reach the affordable housing market? Increase mortgage, increase the value of the property, do us a better home. But the name of the game was the cost, no, and that's why they wanted to investigate why other countries are doing affordable housing so cheap. And one of the ways is using masonry,
mm.
because of the extra value they give.
Nice. Wow. Those are big numbers in the appraisal values there, but it makes sense if wood is going to need to be replaced a lot quicker, and that's going to affect the long-term value of that property. And if it's affordable housing, yeah, to do maintenance, that's just another long-term expense that won't have to be dipped into if you've got masonry type housing, which Yeah, this
Mhm.
this is good. So
Yeah.
we've got a big need for, efficient um,
Mhm.
housing in this country that meets people's needs. So hey,
Yeah.
let's let's see what we can
Right.
do with this. Hey, so Daniel, looking ahead 5 to 10 years now, where do you see the biggest global impacts for this technology? Looking ahead.
Well, right now, for instance, I just got a letter recently from the UN
Right.
looking for the type of construction that we do. They were looking for interlocking modular housing.
Hmm.
And when I talked to them and said, where do you need housing? They said, no, everywhere in the world. And they have these programs to help communities, especially after disaster, like um, storm-warned areas, Gaza and Syria and in Africa and Latin America. The UN have a program to help redevelopment areas. And this is the first time I see, an organization of that type looking for this type of housing, because
Hmm.
usually we say we're looking for housing, but when they specifically say they're looking for interlocking, more or less modular housing, that was like describing our product. And I was,
Yeah.
and, so we gear up now uh, to joint venture and do licenses because basically
Yeah.
we have now the know-how and it's a very
Right.
low tech. You can get equipment to manufacture blocks. They're made everywhere. The
Yeah.
Americans do it, the European, the Chinese. There's equipment available. What you need is
Yeah.
the design and the know-how. And
Right.
once that is on the market, it could accelerate
Yeah.
construction everywhere, and especially in
Right.
these areas, that have no specialized labor. And that's the problem, if
Yes.
you need to rebuild 100,000, a million houses, you're talking about in the regular industry, you would need 2 million workers. Where do you get 2 million workers to do a million houses? It's,
Right.
it's,
Hmm.
yeah, even we're working right now with the Mexican government program that they need to build 1.2 million houses in the next 4 years. And they're looking at our system because it expedites construction with masonry. Because Mexico will be a country that probably 80% of those houses are going to be made with block.
Yeah.
So areas like that will look at this system because it would help them expedite and lower their costs. And they have the problem of 30% labor force is gone, the specialized labor for masonry. Because for
Wow.
years, if you don't build, 5, 10 years, people move to another industry. That happened
Yeah.
in Mexico. That people went to work for factories
Hmm.
and no more in construction because weren't enough construction every year.
Hmm.
So now they're missing people. Then the same is true for the U.S. Right now there's a lot of groups training, masons because you need a specialized training. We haven't announced to the industry yet that we're here because you needed to prove your point. You needed to build houses. You needed to because the first thing people ask you, oh, have you built anything? And now that we have dozens of houses and moving into larger numbers, now we can show you know uh,
Hmm.
that it's possible and how
Hmm.
efficient it is. So it's a process, like to get
Yes.
into
Yes.
that market.
Um, Following up a bit on the U.S. situation, modular housing is taken up somewhere in the vicinity of 50% of the market now, perhaps a little more even. So we're using modular techniques to build our
Yeah.
houses in essentially in factories now, right? How how
Yeah.
how could we adapt that, to utilize this new technology that you have? What any discussions you've had with modular construction people? Um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the modular industry, up to now they've been focusing on using wood.
It's all wood.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you build a wall, in a factory and expedite the process, then you realize that when you deliver the house, you need a crane and you need all these things that start slowing you down anyway. But at the same time, when we built a wall, we can do it as fast as they can do it in the factory. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
last year, I had a discussion with Cemex, which is a large cement company, and they had bought equipment, robotic equipment from Australia that
Hmm.
places blocks. You probably seen it. They advertise in a lot of places, but basically, an equipment with a robotic arm takes the blocks, put it through a channel. They put some kind of glue on the bottom, and then the robotic arm takes the block and start building the house. Just
Yeah.
playing like
Yeah.
that. But the only difference was that they're not using a Lego system block. They're just
Oh,
fixing they're replacing the mortar with some kind of special glue, and they put
with the
one
glue.
block on top of the other, and they do one block every 30 seconds.
Good.
But our system, when we build, we do one block every 30 seconds as well by hand.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why, we have a brand name called Bot Block, a robotic block, because our corners, have a specific place, and it does a
Yeah.
specific um, unit of, it's basically repeated one left, one right, one left, one right. But when you mix the corners, that block system is building by using these robotic blocks doing their function. So when they lock in the corner, they're not going to open without any mortar. So
Yeah.
they become structural just by piling up our blocks. When the robotic arm do it, they're not doing anything structural. It's piling and hoping that the house
Yeah.
doesn't come down. Ours, actually it locks, because in our system, we have a left and a right and a corner, so they can lock themselves. We have the T blocks that have left and right, so they can lock themselves. So as you go through the house, it won't be able to open up just with a single drop of mortar. The system is in place and it's structural, and
Amazing.
that's a big difference. And it was designed to that to
Yeah.
help you, you know, and
Yeah.
and there's other technology. From there we went to develop plumbing walls. So now we do the shower, and all the guts of the shower comes in external wall. Metal is metal stud, but we
Okay.
leave the opening on the bathroom, and we just come in with the wall already done, and we put it in place, secure it and cover it with concrete, concrete
Nice.
sheeting. But that saves you a lot of money on plumbing and time,
Right.
because otherwise you have to stop and allow the plumber to come in and work on the bathroom. But not
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, you can just get these plumbing walls if it's a shower, or if it's a bathroom,
Mhm.
or if it's a kitchen sink. You can do the same. So that's where construction is going to the future. There's other things that we're working on. Filling open gaps with sand, heating up the
Mhm.
sand to irradiate heat from a wall, and all these different ideas that you can come up. Basically, you have to do a resilient house, an indestructible house, because you're moving to the future. You spend $500,000 in a house, and it could be gone in a second on a fire. That's
Mm.
not acceptable, no? And that's why you will break industries like that, like the insurance industry. And
Yeah.
people don't want to play that game. So you have to build a
Yeah.
secure house, especially if you're going to spend that kind of money. No,
Yeah.
why
Absolutely.
replace it?
And,
So
and the rebuild time being so long with wood, and if you can even rebuild. So this is such a viable solution here, Daniel. So
yeah,
yeah, where can people get more information about your company and all that you do? Where can they
uh,
find you online?
online we're at glowhab.com. And we
GrowHab.com.
looking, yeah, and our system is IncaBlock.com.
IncaBlock.com. There you have it.
Right. Then you can see the houses that we're building and the system.
Excellent. Excellent. I mean, this is such amazing news here. So, yeah, for people that are interested, check out those sites. Daniel, Correa, thank you so much for your incredible information here on a really hopeful new way to build that's going to make some big changes in the industry, which it needs. So,
Yeah, very good, Bill. Thank you very much for the interview, and
you're welcome.
we'll keep in touch.
All right. Good luck. Now,
Hello.
so we'll end it here. All right. And they'll be doing, snippets. We'll take some snippets out of this.
Okay.
And once you've had a chance to review those, we'll give you a short follow-up call on that, see how that's working for you. And, we can walk through any clips together if you want certain ones longer, shorter, or more. That's totally fine, whatever you're looking for there. And then, so I especially enjoy this. This is a chance for me to really learn something from a super professional that's changing things in that industry. I've been in the industry all my life, mainly wood. And so, starting as a carpenter, I put myself through college doing carpentry work. And And
no, me too. Yeah, my father, my brother, we were all used to build in wood.
Nice. So this is huge. This is such a hopeful thing moving forward, Daniel. So we'll send you a Zoom link for a short follow-up call and get those snippets ready for you. And then, good luck moving ahead with your business here. And if there's any,
we're just between us, we're moving into a public company soon.
Public. You can buy stocks in your company soon. Then.
Yeah, we acquire a public company on the market.
Yep.
And we're going to be taking over a public company. We're going to start on the bottom, but the company is clean and it's been years on the market. So we're moving from pink to fully reportable to NASDAQ. But the first 6 months, you're restricted and all that, but you have enough time to use audits and reporting. So we're reporting, but we're going to be audited, and because to be able to grow faster, sometimes people don't like public, other people do, but in this particular case, we get more attention. Probably more leverage being public.
Yeah, with this kind of product here. And so you're on the pink sheets right now. What's your pink sheet for the
we're not yet on. We're taking over a company. We've been negotiating for about 4 months. But we should close in the next, hopefully in February.
That's exciting. This month. This
month.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see you on Wall Street here at some point, right?
Yeah, but I'll let you know the symbol and everything as soon as we close, because until it happened. But the company belongs to a friend of mine that took us to Vladivostok in Russia to promote the IncaBlock, because they do a lot of modular construction there.
Yes.
And then he wanted to get out of the public and go private, and we were, looking for something public, so we end up joint venture there. But
joint venture there in Russia, yeah. Well, again, this is tremendous news, and if there's any way we can converge on anything, that would be my hope here. I mean, I do AI advisory to generate leads, marketing, that sort of thing. And you're at a breakthrough stage here, going big.
Yeah.
And I want to see it go big. So.
Yeah, you're in real estate mainly, or?
Well, yeah, that's kind of my bread and butter. I own properties, although I'm
Mhm.
mostly retired from that, so they're managed passively. But one of my properties is co-living, like I mentioned, down in Texas, and
Uh-huh.
that's an alternative way to help house people in traditionally large, overblown residential homes that maybe
Uh-huh.
there's so many out there, one or two people live in them, and yet we
Uh-huh.
have a housing problem. We have enough
Right.
bedrooms everywhere to house everybody, but it
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm actively involved in that as well as rural housing initiatives. So it
Oh, yeah.
matters a lot to me, to see progress here to get people housed. So yeah, um,
Yeah. All of our kids, no,
yeah,
I mean, they can't afford to buy anything big. They
they,
should be able to start with the smaller houses but I think we're going
yeah,
to have to get there, uh, because
yeah,
there's no other way to address the problem but create affordable housing for
yeah.
you
It's got to
guys.
be done, and I would say you're leading the path here forward, especially with the changes in the insurance industry demanding masonry, essentially, and people wanting to rebuild. They want to do it the smart way now if they've been
Right.
through
They
a disaster.
they,
Yeah.
they figure out it costs them, because the insurance company is the one that fronted, but they cannot do it anymore. Hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, floods. I mean, this uh, break any industry
Yeah.
and fires, and so you have to now build the strong. You have to be able to build an indestructible house. But
Hmm.
if you do it normally with wood and have to be braced into the ground, I mean, it costs a lot of money rather than do it with masonry, a product that could withstand the wind and the fires. Yeah,
And the
even if
bugs.
it's yeah, the
And the
bugs.
bugs.
Yeah,
Sure.
if you go underwater, the concrete will survive.
True.
That's
True.
yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah.
wood's
What
going to
happened
rot.
yeah, remember Texas when they had that big flood a few years
Okay.
ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thousands of us were underwater, and they end up totaling the houses because they thought we can rebuild, but not really. Underwater 10 days, you
Yeah. The
lose
mold.
the malls and everything. So it's a good future, I think, for non-combustible
Yes, it
material for
is.
masonry. Yeah.
It is, Daniel. Thank you, man.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
thank
this is
you,
tremendous.
and
All
we'll
right.
we'll keep in touch, Bill.
All
Take
right.
care.
Let's do that.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Well, all right. You take care, man.